Yo ho Diablo. Welcome back, ladies and gents, for another Beast Wars Season 1 review. We kicked it off in style. I guess. It was kind of stylish. Was it kind of semi-entertaining at least? Kind of like half a chubby. Not like a full chubby, but it was a half chub. Well, we're going to try and go full chub as much as we can with these reviews, because my mind is basically just a swirling miasma of turgid thoughts and ideas, and it kind of translates well to, I guess, just freestyle ranting. But also I have a semi-eidetic memory, so I remember a lot of shit that I really shouldn't. You know, if I applied this type of learning and remembering of things to, highfalutin shit like, mathematics and philosophy and other kind of stuff, I might actually be some kind of low-key genius. But as it stands, the direction that I pointed this in was towards, just shit that moved me, things that I was passionate about. And just to give you a bit of context, I've kind of been a nerd since I was really, really young.
Nerds! 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 Nerds!
Nerds! Started with books. I was a big bookworm, so it was all about reading and language, punctuation, diction. I wanted to learn and read everything that I could. So, it started off with a lot of kids' books, but then I quickly graduated to just pinching large adult novels from my mum's collection, who was also an avid reader. She'd read like Danielle Steele novels, and every now and then if I wanted to challenge myself or just read something that was bigger and longer, I'd grab one of those, because I swear every one of those fucking novels, it was almost the size, or at least half the size, of the collected 3-book series of The Lord of the Rings. If you had the version of the books that's in one collection, it's pretty chunky. These Danielle Steele novels, man, they're at least probably 60% of that size. It was more than half. It was chunky as fuck. I remember the first book series I obsessed over was the Goosebumps series. I collected all of those obsessively and read them religiously. And when you're doing that, you really start to discover the power of the written word. Before we start to graduate towards all the fantastical audio-visual stuff that's out there. And I've said this before, I feel like I was born at the right time, or in the right sort of turning points of this current timeline, where people like me can enjoy the fruits of all the technology that's just exploded over the course of the last several decades. But if you're talking just creative sort of development, I really feel like reading and writing are the best foundational elements to have to build a very strong creative mindset and just a creative bag of skills, if you will. So from reading and obsessing over books from R.L. Stine's Goosebumps collection initially, I eventually just went off on my own path and just read everything that I could. As part of that education, I read a lot of different things, so it wasn't just highfalutin thick novels. It was just anything that I could get at the library. Mostly I loved being at the library. A lot of Asterix books, Tintin books, which were more like comic style books, but still consider them books. There was a bit of a foray into John Grisham novels and shit like that. I didn't really read too much Stephen King. I maybe read 1 or 2 Stephen King books, but a whole bunch of a few Grisham novels when I was starting to get a bit more sort of ambitious with what I was reading. I've actually, from where I'm recording right now, this is my little mini studio at home. It's technically a small room, but it's technically a study, because it's wall-to-wall shelving. This is kind of how it was when we moved in. It was already tagged as being a low-key study, where you can come in and do your homework, but it's not necessarily a place you can sleep, because there's no room for a bed or anything. But I immediately looked at that, and the holy dove descended from heaven, and a heavenly choir was singing some kind of lamentation that V had finally found a way to build his own library at home, which is something I've always wanted to fucking do. Obsessed with the written word. So when I when I really wax poetic about the writing in Beast Wars, I really want people to understand sort of where it's coming from. I'm not just some random talking head saying, this is the best, you should listen to me because I'm the best as well. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, it really is, it's from a nerd's perspective. I've been a nerd my whole life. People know me for that. People know me for a whole bunch of things, for being loose and being an artist and a musician and smoking and partying and whatever the fuck. But nerd came first, and nerd remains steadfast. You cannot take the nerd out of the man, but you can put a man in a nerd? Wait, no, that's just sounding a little too exciting there. Let's reel it back in. That's what she said. So really, my critiques, if I even have that many of the Beast Wars experience, and my adulation over it is really coming from a literary minded person. I've read more books than I can remember, but I tend to remember most of what happened in them. And books, as I continue to read them, even when I became absolutely ensconced in the last 20-30 years of just watching every TV show and movie that ever existed, I was still in between reading books. That never went away, and it always reminded me, even late in my 20s and 30s, as I would catch the train to and from work when I used to work in the city and I live in the burbs. Basically, it's an hour up and an hour back. I'd read books. I'd read a book for an hour up and an hour back. I'd pretty much finish like almost a book a week, or yeah, about a book per week. It's a pretty good average. What I came to really understand properly was the power of the written word. When properly executed, it sets your imagination on fucking fire. Those have been the best moments I've had. I think I've had better experiences in my mind reading words than I think I've had being slammed with audio visual input. And it sounds a bit weird to say that in our modern world, but that's still the case. And to be able to elicit that response from a reader, if you can do that for written words that are actually going to be specifically made into audio-visual products, whether they be live action or animation, well then you are starting from a very strong foundational standpoint. That your starting point is very strong. And I think that's 100% why Bob Ford and Larry DiTillio, rest in peace, Larry DiTillio, and I'm sure if I mentioned that in the first episode, he did pass away maybe 2 or 3 years ago now. It's probably why them and the entire writing staff, and I guess I shortchanged in the first episode. I didn't mention the animation staff, the actual animators and the directors. There's some key scenes that I've used. I'm going to be using in these reviews where I've used clips from the making of Beast Wars documentaries, or behind the scenes footage they shot back in '96, where they give you a bit of a snapshot on what their labs look like, what the animations pre-viz look like, and the computers they were using, and the actual animators themselves. Not only that, but the sound design, because I really feel like Beast Wars sound design was superior as fuck as well. I've said before, every element of this show really came together at a high level because everyone really gave a fuck. Like, they really tried, and it shows. When you really give a shit, you'll have people talking about your work 30 years down the track. That's just how it works, right? Quality always over quantity. But even if you have quantity, it doesn't negate the fact that that can be quality too. Like, it all comes down to the writing. So that is your bedrock. And, well, we're going to see a whole lot of me highlighting that throughout the course of this first season. We got 24 more episodes to go. This is episode 2 that we're going to start on. This is Beast Wars Part 2, written by Bob Ford. He wrote both parts. And this particular episode, I believe, was directed by Steve Ball. So yeah, just to set up, I guess, why I was talking about all that stuff is the fact that, yeah, there's a lot of really adult, mature writing in this series. And I feel like season 1, because we had more episodes, we had way more time to spend with the characters doing, odd missions. Not everything was connected to the main plot of trying to get back to Cybertron or trying to prevent the Predacons from collecting too much energon. We did get to actually live and breathe with these characters, which is very important. We need to get to know them so we can actually treat them like they're real and they exist. That those are the best characters, animated or not. They need to exist in our world somehow, and they need to endear themselves, either as, either heroes or villains. Right? We are connected and attracted to those forces and to those characters for various reasons, but the main reason is they're really well fucking written, amazingly portrayed by the voice cast. I think last time in the text edit I forgot to mention Scott McNeil also voiced Waspinator, so he voiced no less than 3 main characters in the first season, which then went up to 4 in the second season, and then I guess 5 if you technically, well, it wouldn't be 5, still 4 in the third season because of Dinobot, Transmetal Dinobot 2, but that's getting ahead of ourselves again. So yeah, every element in this show comes together, and rewatching episode 1, which by the way I'm using clips that were made by a channel on YouTube which actually went to the trouble of uploading 4K remasters. That's why if you're looking at it and you're thinking maybe it looks a little crisper than usual, that's why. I'll probably put a link in the description. I think I didn't put it in the first video, but I'll put it from now on because it's really eye-opening seeing it in this much clarity. Okay, you'll notice in the clips that I use when I'm just talking and these talky bits, it's not the 4K videos. It's just, whatever sort of footage I had, other DVD copies that I had, and just shit from YouTube. But these ones I'm using for the main commentary sections, just pay attention to them, man. They are just schmick. Beast Wars has never looked this fucking good. So this is from a YouTube channel called Alan's Replaying. I'd highly recommend you check it out if you're a big fan of the series and you want to see it in the sexiest that it's ever fucking looked and sounded, by the way. I think the remaster and the upscale might have boosted the sound design too, which is just fucking so immersive. I just wanted to point that out because it just looks so fucking gorgeous. So picking back up to where we started off from with episode 1, season 1, Beast Wars part 1. Just to recap, we have 2 factions, the Maximals and Predacons. They are the ancestors who have not been yet named, but we know very obviously that they're ancestors of the Autobots and Decepticons respectively. Over the course of a few generations, we learned from the info dumps we get in the first episode. Over the course of at least a few centuries, since what they termed the Great War, which was the entire war and series of G1 and beyond between Autobots and Decepticons. It had been a few centuries since the war ended. There has been peace between the 2 factions, and I guess during that peace, or at some point throughout that large stretch of time, Autobots and Decepticons had newer iterations, I guess you could call them evolutions, in their species or their sides, however it works. I think there might be some story or lore that connects them in terms of how they came about. I forget where that might be. It might be one of the comic books or something. But we get the emergence of these newer iterations of the older factions, and I pointed out in the first episode that one of the major differences is that they're much smaller, much more compact, which, if you think about it, makes a whole lot of fucking sense when you think about technology and robotics and electronics. Think about it. If you are alive enough to experience the evolution of tech in our real world over the course of the last 30 years even, I won't even say 50, if you're 40 like me right now and you've experienced shit for at least consciously for 30 years, well, things tend to get smaller, don't they? More compact, use more power more efficiently, don't need as much bulk. and especially during peacetime as well. You would imagine that you wouldn't need big hulking robots to do anything, right? Over a course of a few centuries, I want to say the population gets complacent, but you do tend to de-emphasize the need to be some battle-ready, fucking heavily armored bot, right? I'm sure that factored in at some point. So that said, we still see that even a little maximal group like ours, who is not technically a warship or a battle cruiser, they are an exploration vessel. It still does not negate the fact, like, you know, even Star Trek had defense systems, they had shields, they had weapons. So the Axelon has exactly the same thing. And you can tell some of the crew are familiar with battle, have seen some action possibly already, but they've been part of the peacetime as well, so maybe really they haven't. Not as much as we'd like to think. I think they're all pretty green around the gills, and they weren't really there going out into the universe to pick fights. They were just going to look for new worlds to explore. Like, they were like an exploration ship. So yeah, we get this nice, we catch up on all that information, and it immediately connects us to the original continuity of the Transformers, which is really cool. We're going to get a lot more of that as the episodes progress, and that's only really going to help the series. I know it's good for it to stand on its own, but it's part of the Transformers lore. It's in its title. It is at the very core of what the series is, and we're seeing the beginnings of a story that weaves, interconnects, and just does all kinds of crazy shit with the continuity and with the Transformers lore. Fundamentally alters it, I think, for the better overall. And when we get to some of the hallmark episodes that really defined this experience that we call Beast Wars, you're going to really understand, from my perspective, why I think that it's not going to get any better than what we got with Beast Wars if you're talking about the Transformers mythos. I know that's a pretty bold claim, considering the amounts of iterations and versions of the stories there are out there in Transformers lore, like especially in the comics, the litany of animated series, there's the films, you know. But really, the heart and the soul, or what gave this really some proper heart and soul, is the Beast Wars experience. That's not me taking anything away from the OG G1 experience either. I'm just thinking, objectively speaking, Beast Wars was better written, better directed, better animated. Of course, because it was made 10 years later with better technology. And with secret proprietary technology as well. So Mainframe, if you watch that making of video, they mentioned that they use silicon graphics computers, and they use a software called Soft Image. That's what the animator said. It could just be Soft Image, but she pronounced it as Soft Image. Plus a whole bunch of software that they wrote themselves and piggybacked onto that. The reason why they're able to achieve the things they achieved with, you know, making the robots look fucking amazing can be attributed to their in-house team developing their own system, which is fucking amazing.
So maybe I can tell you a little bit about how each episode is made. The animators work at workstations like this with silicon graphics machines. We use a basic animation package called Soft Image, and we've written our own software that we plug in on top of that. It's a trade secret. No one else knows what our software contains, and that's what allows us to do things the way we do them and the speed with which we do them.
So to catch us all the way up, we've got the two factions, they crash land. We figure out pretty quickly that a golden disc was stolen. This is a very carefully guarded relic in Cybertron because it contains the location of a large energon source. Megatron stole it to find that source so he could build the Predacons an army worthy of restarting the war and conquering, well, first of all, conquering the Maximals and the Autobots, and then going out and conquering the rest of the universe, one assumes. This is actually something they briefly depict in a Season 1 episode, I believe, might have been Law of the Jungle. which is another awesome ep when we get to it. It's like pretty deep into season 1, where they have like a little, not even a flashback, but it's like a what if scenario when Dinobot explains to Tigatron why they fight and why they have to prevent Megatron from getting access to all this energon, because if he does, well, Cybertron will fall and the universe might follow.
Megatron takes the energon wealth of this world unopposed. He will begin a war that will destroy Cybertron and shatter galaxies until only one side survives. It has been this way for hundreds of stellar cycles, ever since Autobot and Decepticon first began the Great War.
So really setting the stakes, really high stakes. The stakes have never been higher. Insert meme here. But really gives everything they do, everything they encounter, every little decision they make has immense weight. And also all the times that Megatron's going to completely fuck up the Maximals' plans to get the hell off the planet, first of all, while also defeating the Predacons in the process and preventing the universe's demise. There's going to be a lot of failure along the way to actually stopping him. But everything's set up. They've set the table already in episode 1. This is part 1 of a 2-parter, so it's pretty impressive that much work was already laid out in part 1. We've got a good smattering of Maximal personalities, so we know exactly who it is we're dealing with. So we're pretty clear on what kind of dude Rat Trap is, Rhinox is, Cheetor, who I mercilessly ragged on unexpectedly. Like I said, I'm not scripting any of this shit. I think it just brought out some latent feelings I had towards the character when he first debuted. I had nothing against him at all throughout the entire series run, and I love his development over the course of 3 seasons. But I'm really going to lean into this. Cheetor is an annoying son of a bitch for the first 3, 4, or 5 episodes, because not only is he responsible for a bunch of shit going down, he was pretty annoying in the first episode, and we're going to get a lot more of that coming through.
Oh yeah?
So yeah, we got Cheetor, obviously Optimus Primal, very much learning the ropes. So we got Optimus, who's capable, who seems to have a plan, who isn't any slouch in battle, it seems. But from Rat Trap's interactions with him, it's very clear that this is his first time being a proper battle commander. And he's feeling his way through, and he's butting heads with his team, because this team is not a military-minded team. They're all scrambling to pivot to now be that. You can't just go from some peaceful exploration vessel to now being some hard-ass, battle-weary motherfucker. Like, that's got to take a bit of developing. It's got to take a whole lot of falling on your face, getting screwed over by your enemies, sometimes by your own team. There's a lot of learning curves going on. And we are going to be reminded, because this is not strictly a kids show. It was rated PG in Australia, and it's very much earned its PG rating with some of the shit that it got away with. But it gets pretty dark, people. Season 1, not so much. I mean, there's some dark moments, but there's some pretty intense moments. Season 2, yeah, it gets fairly murky. And I love every minute of it. So yeah, the table's set, and we've got the two sides. Very clearly we know what the score is, why they're fighting. Dinobot is the X factor, and he will be for quite some time, because we can't fully trust him, even all the way up into season 2. We can't fully trust him, and he can't even trust himself. We're up to the point where Dinobot's been exiled from the Predacons. He is now challenging the Maximals for their leadership. He's about to throw down with Optimus Primal one-on-one to do just that. And that's where we pick up the episode. So let's get to it.
Dinobot challenge you for leadership of the Maximals. You and I, 1-on-1. The winner shall be leader, and for the loser, well, it is a long way down.
Yeah, but Optimus can fly.
Don't want to fight you.
You do not have a choice.
Let Chopperface and the Boss Monkey duke it. No fur off of my tail.
No way! Hey, Scale Belly! How's about you try a piece of the bad kitty, huh?
Ah, shit.
Cool your circuits. I wouldn't send anyone to do anything I wasn't willing to do myself.
Besides, you're annoying the shit out of me.
It's that.
Dinobot, maximize.
Oh, his head just popped off and onto his chest. I think that might be something they would have fixed later on, but I'll keep an eye on it because it looked real janky. I love the directing in this part and what Dinobot's doing with his fucking posing. it's like posing action figures.
I'm going in there! Cheetor! Max!
Shut the
Clamp it, kitty.
Thank you.
Nailing the chopper from behind won't settle anything.
Yeah, like it or not, we gotta let him finish.
Yeah, so everyone here having at least a sense of, I want to say, honor? Wow, Dinobot. You ever think Dinobot get that agile in any other episode? That was like a full-on anime gymnast move. Bang! Punched in your blue face. That's it? That's all it takes, huh?
That's not how we Maximals do things.
Then that will have to change.
Dirty motherfucker. Once again, Optimus can fly. Can he not? Or is his jet still damaged? His jets are still damaged. What am I talking about? Continuity, people. It matters. Thank you.
You slipped. To defeat you in such a manner would be lacking in honor. I would not have earned the right to lead. I prefer to beat my opponents the old-fashioned way.
Brutally! Yeah, I love this because Dinobot looks like he's enjoying the fuck out of it.
For a Predacon, Dinobot, you have qualities I could like.
And you have proved to be a worthy adversary. I will have you recycled with full honors.
Well, that's just prime.
Optimus and the traitor Dinobot engaged in battle. Who do you think's gonna win?
Hey, so Scorponok's voice is already rectified by episode 2. Interesting.
Nor me. No. How much more preferable it would be if they both lost.
Man, I feel like you can tell Megatron was like a theater kid growing up. He's just always so fucking dramatic with his presentations and his... He doesn't say shit simply. He just elongates everything and adds a bunch of words. Makes it sound like Shakespeare. I believe you're going to have, how should I say, difficulties of your own. Like, no, just say like, alright, we're gonna fuck you up now.
Yo! Shift your scanners due east there, pals. This party has got big-time crashes.
Yo! Nice. Uh-oh. Missile party.
Optimus!
Whoops.
Optimus!
A little speed would be prime.
You want speed?
Yes.
Let's go!
No, you don't want weed?
Eyes!
Rhinox. Max.
Oh, you want some speed, huh? I'll get you some speed, Primal. I got you some of the best, dopest speed you ever seen.
All right. All right.
Going up.
Took a sweet ass time.
This is our opportunity.
Did they ever address the weapons never running out? Like, I mean, there's stores of weapons. I know they run out in specific battles. That's been an issue every now and then, but... slow motion rat trap. Come on, buddy. You got it. Boom. I love that perspective shot. That's sick.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
You're the leader. It's your, job.
Incompetence.
You just bitch slapped the shit out of Pterosaur. What the fuck?
Energon. Yes. Raw, natural energon crystal. I knew it was here.
Damn, dog. This guy's an addict.
Quickly, return the beast.
Raw energon crystals. Alright. Yeah. This one's a bit more action-packed. Actually, a lot more action-packed. We're going to get way more action as we head towards the giant energon mountain, which has revealed itself. So, we had Dinobot and Optimus challenging each other on the bridge, that bridge that only existed for basically the 2 episodes and got destroyed by the Predacons. So as I said in Ep 1, the landscape around the Maximals base changes quite dramatically. It gets obliterated here and there until it just completely gets fucked up in Season 3 and you lose the Axelon eventually. But in the one-on-one battle, which goes both ways, Optimus defeats him first with a nice punch that he didn't see coming. Dinobot with some slick like kung fu moves initially, and then Optimus offering a hand up because that's not the right way to defeat your opponent. He's not going to kill him even though he's defeated him. Dinobot thinks this is worthy of something. This is worthy of him taking advantage of. So this is maybe his Predacon side playing with the notion of honor. You can see he relished taking the opportunity to subvert that expectation that he would just, accept the defeat. But instead shoots laser beams straight into Optimus's eyes, which I think temporarily fucks him up. Well, it would, not maybe blind him, but, definitely would have hurt. And then eventually gets him off balance to where he trips and he's about to fall off the bridge. He's in robot mode at this stage. I know they just came from battle, and I kept saying, well, he can just fly. But he did get his jets, or at least one of them, damaged in the previous battle from episode 1. So they're probably not functioning. So he doesn't have the ability of flight, which is even why in robot mode he's about teetering on the edge and he's about to fall and he looks worried. But we see Dinobot can't fight his own nature, which is an honorable one. So he prevents Optimus from falling because it's not an honorable defeat. He wouldn't have defeated him of his own volition. It would have been from him tripping because he got off balance. So as they're having this fight, we're getting the same sentiments but from wildly different personas. And this is where the grudging or begrudging respect between these two begins, because they very plainly state as they resume the fight that Optimus states that Dinobot has qualities he could actually come to respect, and Dinobot sort of reiterates that sentiment and generously offers to recycle him with full honors. So it's setting the seeds for the actual respect that the two will have for each other, but that's going to be grown over the course of the season, and it's going to be earned. So Optimus earning it from Dinobot, and Dinobot earning it from Optimus. But yeah, very cool. A lot of these scenes aren't wasted. You get nothing but character development through their interactions. And the best part of the Beast Wars experience was the continuity, which I called out in the live commentary. Continuity is king, and that translates to characters developing as the show goes on. I love to see characters grow and change through experience, through us witnessing their experiences and then understanding the changes. And I love the fact that Beast Wars again had extra time in season 1 to show those changes at a nuanced pace. There weren't dramatic changes. The dramatic changes happened a bit more when you had body upgrades. The personalities kind of got tweaked to a certain extent, more for some than others. But in general, yeah, it was just a matter of just living and growing with the characters themselves. That's what's part and parcel of any awesome pop cultural, audio-visual, artistic experience. So, yeah, here we are. We've had the one-on-one battle. We can call it a stalemate at the end of the day. Neither is willing to really kill the other, and they're coming to realize that. Megatron and the Predacons are just sort of observing initially, and then they all open fire. Because none of them really have any scruples. They're not like Dinobot. He's kind of the odd duck out of that group. And in the ensuing barrage of missiles that miss them, the bridges destroyed, and then the mountain cops all the residual collateral damage, revealing giant raw energon. There were 2 drug references there. Hope you picked that up. Again, earning their PG rating. Optimus, who's teetering off the edge of the cliff, really asking for some speed at that point. Whatever's going to get you through, big bot. Then we had Megatron, who I guess is slowly revealing to us that his energon fixation is really just metaphor for like a crystal meth addiction or something similar, right? But it's something to do with crystals, like raw energon crystals, chopped finely and sniffed off the backs and butts of the most elegant servant bots. It's like turning into some this is like Breaking Bad, but Megatron. Breaking Megatron, yes. Oh shit! I'm sensing some kind of meme-ish mashup there. Someone with like actual abilities to do that better make that happen. That is my personal request. Walter White the shit out of Megatron. Yeah. I am the one who knocks, Maximal. Yeah. I should find like Breaking Bad quotes. Walter White quotes. And read them out in David K's Megatron voice. What a lovely idea. Let's get back to it.
Raw energon. In its natural form, it's highly unstable. We're lucky those missiles didn't cause it to explode.
If you can call it lucky.
He's after the energon. A crystal that size would make him unstoppable.
Oh, thanks a lot for the hot tip, Scale Belly. Rhinox, scrap this game.
Hold on, Rhinox. Will he send flyers?
Oh, for booting up cold? You're not gonna believe a Predacon, are you?
Then we have to get there first. All 5 of us.
Yeah, all 5 of us. You mean Chopper Face?
Chopper Face.
We're all gonna die.
Nice.
Hey, wait for me!
I mean, look, he ain't wrong. Like, just generally speaking, we are all gonna die.
So much energon. With the crystal that size, the Predacon forces will be unstoppable. Yes, the Maximals, and then the galaxy.
Love how the guitar notes are perfectly synced with his stomping of his feet. And that's also like his third leg stomping. Is he gets that excited about the fucking crystals. It's like, yes, do. Suddenly a third beat starts popping up here. Where's that third one coming from? Oh.
The Predacons could attack at any moment, and there may be other surprises on this planet.
There are.
Yes.
Down there. Look.
Yep.
Unusual.
Legendary music. The flute music.
Just one. It isn't natural.
Heads up!
Wow. I gotta say, they look really cool at night with the glow of the energon. Love the lighting, the nighttime lighting. Okay, this is a pretty sick sequence when you get all of them transforming in the one shot.
Defensive positions.
That must have cost a lot of fucking money.
He's with us.
Yeah, I ain't buying it just 'cause you say so.
Rat Trap just pessimistic right to the end.
I'll handle this.
Boom. Nicely done.
Now, while they are weak.
He didn't even hit them.
I knew it, you traitor! You tried to scrap my pal!
Gun to the head.
Pred. Always a pred.
Ease off, Rat Trap. It was an accident.
Says you!
That's right. Says me. You want to question my orders one more time?
I don't trust Predacons.
This scene is probably one of the coolest. Dinobot getting back up on his feet. Being like, what the fuck just happened? Why did this little shit knock me down? He was about to shoot me in the head. The balls on this dude, you know what I mean?
So much energon.
So it's taken them all night to actually get there.
Most taste its power.
Gosh.
The energon fields would destroy us as robots.
Addict talk.
In a minute, we will have to stay in beast form.
I will handle Optimus personally.
He's just so much less intimidating in beast form with his little bitty arms. You know what I mean? Just like the living embodiment of like, if... Dramatic jump. It's like, what's the meme? If you want to... If you're having a bad day, just remember that a T-Rex can't masturbate.
Optimus Primal.
Little bitty arms just hanging there.
Tooth to claw. Yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. At least this fight, they all got to stay in beast mode, but it gets pretty brutal. At least between Primal and Megatron. They kind of just bash into each other here. Boom. Optimus actually does pretty well here. Boom. Like, he's heavy as fuck.
Megatron,
Optimus just flung him across.
You shall not defeat me.
Yeah, that's pretty painful. Love this though. Blood.
it is over, Megatron.
Pretty graphic, if you think about it.
Never over. No. For if I must die, I shall take you with me.
Boom! What a shot. Ooh, the Jaws extreme close-up. I'm sorry, we just missed one of the great moments where they say the word blow. Blow it or it's gonna blow. This time it was Rhinox saying it. Megatron, the ultimate theater kid, dramatic as fuck, just sacrificed himself just so he can kill everyone else at the same time. And Energon is scary as fuck, as you can see.
Thanks.
My action did not imply loyalty, Optimus. I owed you my life. Now we are merely even.
Sure.
I'll accept that.
Yeah, well, at least Megatron's gone, and so's the energon. So it's over. Can we go home now?
No, Rat Trap. For now, we're stranded here with the Predacons on this unknown planet. Megatron may be back, and there is still more energon. If they ever get enough, they could conquer the galaxy. So for now,
2 moons.
let the battle be here, on this strange primitive world, and let it be called Beast Wars!
Yeah. Whip your cock out, start shredding. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know at this point. Just when something like that happens, that ending and let it be called the Beast Wars. You're like, yeah, bitch.
Excellent!
All right. So that was, yeah, that really kicked it up a gear. Once we got everything sort of, like I said, set the table in episode 1. Episode 2 really got straight to the actual physical dangers of now trying to uphold this mission. So as they traverse towards the magical Energon Mountain, with Megatron getting increasingly more addict-laden with his talking and his salivating over the fucking crystal. Oh, I can taste it and shit like that. You know what I mean? He really needs to seek help. It's almost like a sickness, right? It's like almost like dragon sickness, you know, like in Lord of the Rings, where if any being that's like around like a hoard of gold for too long, it kind of corrupts them and makes them absolutely addicted. Almost like having the ring, right? The One Ring. So he's like completely just one track mind when he comes to energon. He sees it, he wants it. Like I said, he wants to cut it up and snort that shit right up his Predacon brain. All his intent is on getting to that mountain. But my question is, if they can't transform into robot mode and last for more than a minute, how are they going to segment and extract it? Like Tarantulas is supposed to be the one that's has the ability, as Dinobot says, to segment and then kind of extract everything. But how was that going to be done in beast mode? They didn't have anything with them to do that. So that wasn't quite explained, but it was basically a race to get to the mountain at that point, because shit, like they might have that stuff stored somewhere in their robot bodies to be able to start doing that work. Or maybe they went to the mountain to secure the location and actually secure it from the Maximals, but they both ended up getting there at the same time and having that battle. Now, we were talking about character before, so the journey that led to the mountain, as we saw depicted in a few scenes, it started off during the daytime, and then it went through the night, and then through the night into the morning and into the next day. So it doesn't look like anyone actually got any rest. Staying in beast mode would have assisted them with that, so they weren't going to short out, and they weren't going to be low on energy reserves either. So they were able to endure and get to the mountain the very next day, but they had a bit of a fight scene at night, which I pointed out looked really gorgeous. I like the sort of the diffuse lighting that was being provided by the energon in those scenes to make the robot forms look really cool. You got Rat Trap with his first of many accusations and physical taunting of Dinobot, pushing him around, in this instance pushing him down, knocking him down, and then putting a gun up to his head, constantly being reminded by Primal that no, we're not going to just kill him. And Rat Trap totally being in the right by pointing out, yeah, you can't trust him, dude. What are you, an idiot? It's like, fine, if you're going to have him tag along, but you can't treat him like he's one of your comrades. You don't know him. Like, this is Optimus being a bit green in the gills. Even though he's got the right idea, he's being noble, he's doing right by Dinobot. Even Dinobot is doing right by Optimus. And even making excuses. It's like that I didn't save your life for any other reason other than the fact that I owed you mine. And that may be true, but it's also speaking to the reason why he couldn't let Optimus fall off the bridge. Because he's not a cold-hearted murderer. Things have to have meaning for him. He has to have an ultimate goal that is actually righteous and does not impede or tread on, you know, honor and respect and integrity. There's like an ethical center to Dinobot that makes him really, really interesting to watch as a character. And even more so interesting to watch him and Rat Trap's, just their interactions together at this point. They're really just one step away from full-blown one-on-one war. And we'll see that play out a lot over the course of the season. But I thought it was hilarious to see Dinobot get back up. I pointed it out in the live commentary. He just gets back up and he's like just fucking towering over Rat Trap. And he clenches his fist momentarily just at the end of that scene where he's like... And then even in the background when you're looking at him, he's like looking back at Optimus, but then he kind of like looks back down at Rat Trap almost in like disbelief. Like, how did this little dude just do all that? And he was about to blow my head off. Like, that was it. I'm like, what the fuck? He was genuinely a little shocked, I think, by Rat Trap's ballsiness. Yeah, it's just because he's underestimating him. He doesn't know him either. He doesn't know anyone at this point. He'd probably think twice about taking Rhinox on, you know, physically. Or even think about, you know, responding to any kind of physical threat from Rhinox. He'd be less willing to. But from Rat Trap, he should be like ready to stand up and just dismantle the guy. But at that point, the very first time they tussled, he had to have like a silent respect for him, I think, there as well. He had to, because he was like, oh shit, that was kind of, didn't expect that. It's a bit impressive. I still want to beat the shit out of this little dude. But, you know, at least there's some kind of respect growing there. Good little bits to show, you know, the seeds of their very awesome and at times complicated friendship. And we eventually get to the mountain, and they have a full-on back alley barroom brawl, but they all have to remain in beast mode, so it's just a beast on beast action. And I'm not sure if saying those words are going to get my video looked at by YouTube people. So what the algorithm pick up this phrase from this video, beast on beast action. I know the channel's about Beast Wars, but what's he really talking about here? Well, just a bunch of, you know, cartoon beasts beating the shit out of each other. That's all. But beating the shit out of each other, right? Just make sure you're getting the words right here. Beating the shit out of each other. So we have the big sort of showdown. We understand that as Crystal of that size, Dinobot was freaking out a little bit. It's like, yeah, shit, we can't let him get that, otherwise we're all fucked. So yeah, I guess I don't know what their intention was. Optimus was initially worried that if they explode the mountain, it's going to obliterate everything around them. But luckily, when they do explode the mountain, it just kind of... They're back to that spot they were before they actually got to the mountain. That was apparently far enough for them to be away from the blast zone and just get sprinkled lightly with some mountain rocks. But we can see how absolutely fucking terrifying Energon is. I guess the raw version of it. It's this oscillating crystal. It's almost like it's got its own sentience. It's got its own mode of being, and it operates on its own frequency. And if you excite it in its raw form like that, it is absolutely going to detonate everything around you. And the fact that the entire planet, which they assume is Earth, but they can't confirm that it's Earth because there's too many odd things about the topography of the place, and I guess the stellar sphere is not quite right either, because as you saw a brief glimpse in the daytime, there was 2 crescents in the sky, and that's to show what we're going to see eventually is that there are 2 moons in the sky, in the night sky of this planet. So while Megatron's intention was to get to Earth, he's not convinced that they're on Earth either. He's just like, well, at least we found a planet that's completely littered with energon, so who gives a shit if it's Earth or not? So we as the audience are still left wondering, like, is this Earth? Is this not? I think based on the fact that we understand we know the species of animals, well, it's definitely got to be Earth, but it's not our Earth, or it's a weird version of it because it's got 2 moons. There's also the fact that we get to see what's referred to as the standing stones. This is where it gets introduced. This is one of the bits of trivia that was on IMDb, but not really, I guess, a bit of trivia. It's just something you notice when you see it. But the trivia about it that is actually not listed on the website is that the standing stones was, again, something that I described in episode 1 when I reviewed episode 1. It was not a plot device. It was put there as an animation asset, right? This is something I read or might have seen an interview on fucking 20 something years ago, right? I can't provide you a link. I can't be fucked trying to Google it. This is what I ingrained in my brain about this, because like I said, I will remember a whole bunch of random shit about things that I am passionate about, and not really give a shit about a bunch of other things. But the standing stones apparently were just something that they had. So I think Bob Forward, Larry, they probably went to the animators at Mainframe and said, well, what can we put in terms of like another thing? What can we have in the landscape that's not just more mountains and rivers and just prehistoric looking terrain? And they gave them just a version of Stonehenge. And if you're familiar with Stonehenge, there's many Stonehenges around the world. It's not just the British one. There are others, sort of standing stone rock formations, quite a few of them actually, around the world in our real world. So when they included that was a big nod to the fact that, well, this must be Earth. But again, there's this uncertainty about, well, if it's Earth, but is it like our familiar Earth? Or why is it so different? What's with all the energon? Earth never had energon. So once again, you get this addition of something that wasn't there in like the narrative or the plot. It was just like, let's insert this asset, which is the Stonehenge model, make mention of it in episode 2. Rhinox highlights, well, it's obviously not natural, and it was built by someone, but we don't know who. It wasn't either of us. So clearly there's some kind of intelligence that's present on the planet, either actively present or was present a long time ago, and they've left a bit of a mark. It's also a bit of a Easter egg for the upcoming episode in season 1, which I believe was Chain of Command, where the Standing Stones have a very prominent role to play, not only in the episode itself, but in terms of setting up the entire rest of the season, all the way to the season finale, and all the way through to the end of the series as well, as the recurring alien Vok plotline starts to loom and become a very central plot point that follows the series through its entire run. So yeah, it's cool to know that kind of stuff, because again, it leads into what I talked about in episode 1, which was the ability to take on any kind of input you have, put in a random image, and suddenly weave a very in-depth story around it and integrate it into a larger plot. Right? You can do that when you are creative, innately creative, really. They took that and they made it a very big plot point. So I always respected that. And I love the fact that retroactively it made them look like fucking geniuses, because it looked like they just seeded everything from the very get-go. And they knew exactly what they were doing. Anyway, so that was really cool to see that. And at the end of the day, we unofficially have Dinobot join the Maximals. He'd already changed his activation code technically. And he hasn't officially resigned to the fact that he is loyal to them, or that he recognizes Optimus as his leader. He's simply, I guess, like rooming with them. He's like a roomie at the moment, you know, like he's just testing the waters, you know, just seeing like if it's going to work out. And, you know, maybe while he's trying to see if it's going to work out, he might try and take over the leadership another 2 or 3 times in the process. So setting up some interesting times ahead for the Maximal team specifically. And Optimus reminding us that, yeah, okay, that particular crystal is gone, but, you know, there's still a heap of energon on this planet. We still have to protect the rest of the universe from this absolute calamity from taking place. If we allow Megatron to do whatever the hell he wants on this planet, we have to make sure we keep him in check. So it's reiterated that the story's not done, even though Rat Trap was very, very excited about the fact that, yeah, we did it. Yeah, can we go home now? Yeah, so an amazing 2-part episode to kick off this equally amazing experience. I mentioned Megatron, Megatron doing Walter White lines. Let's see if we can do a few more of those. Yeah, how about we start with like an episode, some shit from the pilot. You lost your partner today. What's his name? Emilio. Emilio is going to prison. The DEA took all your money, your lab. You got nothing. Square one. But you know the business, and I know the chemistry. I'm thinking, maybe you and I could partner up. And then maybe you get Cheetor as Jesse? You want to cook crystal meth? You and me? That's right, pussycat. Either that, or I turn you in. Oh my god. Cheetor as Jesse? What have I done? Did you learn nothing from my chemistry class, feline? No? You flunked me, remember? No wonder. Prick. Let me tell you something else. This ain't chemistry. This is art. Cooking is art. And the shit I cook is the bomb. So don't be telling me. The shit you cook is shit. I saw your setup. Ridiculous. You and I will not make garbage. We will produce a chemically pure and stable product that performs as advertised. No adulterants. No baby formula. No chili powder. No. No. Chili P is my signature. Not anymore. Okay, how about conversation between Walt and Gus? Gus is played by Dinobot. It says like Megatron is Walt, Gus is Dinobot. Alright. You knew my brother-in-law was with the DEA.
I investigate everyone with whom I do business. What careful man wouldn't?
He is not a problem for us or our business. But you being here, is this some sort of a message?
I'm supporting my community. I hide in plain sight, same as you. Are we done?
No. Listen. This attack on my brother-in-law, I don't understand it. I don't know what it means. Please, if you may have some knowledge that you can share with me. I fear for my Predacon family.
I'm sure they'll be fine. I am told the assassin that survived is gravely injured. It's doubtful he'll live. Now thank me and shake my hand.
Alright, I'm going to stop doing that now because that's going to fuck my voice up. Alrighty, we'll cap it off there. So, an amazing introduction to the Beast Wars series. We have episode 3 coming up next, which is The Web. Surprise, surprise, another Cheetor-centric episode. Actually, it's probably the first Cheetor-centric episode that kicks off a run of Cheetor-centric episodes, which is what we got, the web, and then equal measures. I'm glad they toned it down for the rest of the series. We just get to focus on the rest of the Maximals and the story at large. But yeah, hope you're all enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying doing them. If you do, feel free to comment. Let me know, you know, if any of this is ringing some nostalgia bells for you. And this is obviously an adult geared channel. I am an adult myself. I'm 40 years old, people. I'm not trying to clean this language up for any kids out there. So this is really just for the oldies, I guess. Alright, peeps. Thank you so much for your time. I will catch you on the next one. Mojo out.